UFC Seattle just went down last night, and I gotta say the card was absolutely fire. Let's review some of these fights and go over the picks. Starting off, we got Modestas Bukakis with the first round knockout over Rafael Cerqueira. He did it in similar fashion to what Ibo Aslan did last time. Put him up against the cage. The power was too much for him. He knocked him out at least 3 or 4 times. Head was bouncing off the cage. It was pretty intense. Great knockout. Like to see him back in the octagon pretty soon again. Moving on, we had Nursiton Ruzaboya versus Eric McConico. Right hand down the middle, just like I called it. It was like I seen this thing in the future, man. Knocked him out. He doesn't move his head like I was telling you, and he just got caught clean. He put him on skates, and then he finished him off with some ground and pound. Second round knockout, just like I predicted. Next up, we had Nikolai Veretennikov taking on Austin Vanderford. Another knockout, another finish, 3 for 3, starting the card off early. Vanderford used his wrestling and got him out of there, man. Put him up against the cage, ground and pound, finished him off. And then after the fight, it was like Veretennikov wanted to fight again. But I think he's done. I think his days in the UFC are done. If you want to fight after the fight, I haven't seen many people survive after that. Next up, we had Ricky Simone with a knockout over Javid Basharat. This was very impressive, man. I gotta admit, I wrote Ricky off, and he hit him with a left hook, right hand. Javid was looking up. He didn't know where he was. I think he was asleep for a couple seconds as well. Very impressed with Ricky Simone. I didn't think he would get a knockout. If anything, thought it would go to the scorecards, but very impressed with how he finished his fight. Javid, man, I guess being too pretty, it definitely comes at a cost. So Ricky got in there, got gritty, pressured him, and put his lights out. So salute to Ricky Simone, man. Next up, we had the biggest betting favorite on the card, Mansour Abdul-Malik, taking on Nick Klein. This fight started off a little sketchy. Nick Klein was bullying him the first round, hit him with that huge spinning elbow, definitely won him the round, had him hurt. Malik was able to recover very well and very fast, honestly. Second round started. It was pretty much the same thing. And then Abdul Malik just decided to, I don't know, something clicked in his brain, switched the position, put him up against the cage, and just went to town. Started throwing heavy bombs up against the cage, dropped him, put him away, ground and pound, second round finish, just like I predicted. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you've seen a card start off with, 5 finishes? 5 finishes. The entire prelims were just finishes. It was crazy. I don't think we've seen a card like that and then continue to progress in a while. So let me know if you guys could think of another card that started off similar to this. Next up, we had Andre Fili taking on Malcozy Acosta. Fight started off just as I expected. Fili touching him up on the feet. He decided to wrestle, like I predicted, put himself in a guillotine, and that was all she wrote. Costa subbed him up first round. It was a little questionable for Fili to do that. He basically dug himself into the guillotine and just stayed there. I don't know if he was going to tap, but when you saw his face, it was definitely pretty tight. Costa gets the sub, just like I predicted. It was very good prelims for me. Next up in the light heavyweight division, we had Ion Cutelaba taking on Ibo Aslan. Fight started off, they were both just throwing bombs. A lot of ducking and swinging, overhands. And then Ion, I don't know him much to be a grappler, but he ended up getting a submission. Arm triangle. It was, I was impressed, I'll be honest. He switched it up, took him down. I think he shot like 2 or 3 takedowns. He took him down, and then he just fought for the arm triangle, and he got it. It was pretty impressive. I gotta give respect to Ion. Way to find a finish in a different way, Yeah, impressive fight. Impressive. Moving on to the main card, we had the fight of the night, apparently. I don't know how, man. Alonzo Menifield versus Julius Walker. This fight was absolutely sloppy. I was texting my boy. I was like, yo, this is the sloppiest fight I've ever seen. They were both just throwing big bombs. And then it was like another, like I said in the preview, Alonzo Menifield's IQ, he would throw 2 strikes, seem to have Walker hurt, and then just wait. It was a little weird. Walker, he was, hunting for the takedown, couldn't get it, and then it looked like he would hurt Minifield, and he would wait too. He looked drawn the entire fight, like maybe the weight cut was too much or something, but they both were seemingly tired and weren't sure what to do next. Alonzo definitely hurt Julius on the feet more than what was coming back to him. I liked Julius Walker's clinch work. He was throwing a lot of knees in there, a lot of work to the body. He could not get a takedown, and then when he did, he didn't really do much with it. I don't think he had Alonzo in a compromised position, but for the most of the fight, they were on the feet. Alonzo hitting them with big shots. They both got wobbled a few times, and 30-27. I see how you score it that way. Walker, he has a lot of big reactions to whatever he got hit with. So he was like flailing all over the place. So I guess in that judge's eyes, it looked like he was hurt for most of the fight. And I agree with him somewhat. But yeah, Alonzo Menifield, I got this pick wrong. But for the prelims, I did pretty well. So far I only missed on Basharat, Ebo, and Walker. So 3 picks wrong, still rolling. Next up, we had Laura Jean Silva taking on Melsik Bagdasaryan. Nasty knockout in this one. They started the fight off going tit for tat with the strikes, and then Jean, I'm not gonna say he started to get in his head, but he definitely got the crowd into it. Melsik was playing into it for a little bit. They reset after a few high fives, and then Jean just lets go a left hook, right hand, and Melsik didn't know where he was. Jean was standing over him, looking at the ref like, "Are you sure you want me to do this?" And respect to Jean because he definitely knew he was hurt, and he switched up, going for the head. He threw a couple elbows to the body and finished the fight. That was amazing. That was an amazing finish. I wasn't sure if he was gonna get finished. I said decision or TKO, but man, that was better than what I expected. Jean Silva is definitely getting a ranked opponent next. Featherweight division has some new blood, and it's definitely one of the top divisions to look out for. Next up, we have Rob Font taking on the newcomer Gene Matsumoto. This was a great fight. This was the fight of the night, in my opinion. I don't know how they gave it to Walker and Minifield. This was definitely fight of the night. Rob Font came out, they touched gloves, and then threw a jab instantly. He had Gene hurt off of that. Not hurt, but he rocked him a little bit. And it was a tit-for-tat type of fight, man. First round, Rob was controlling a majority of it, and then Gene got the takedown. Rob was threatening some submissions, and then Gene started, unloading some big shots from up top. Second round, Gene, he utilized his wrestling, some jiu-jitsu, ground and pound. Definitely gave him the second round. Third round, I see how they scored it for Rob. He landed that elbow to the forehead that cut Gene open. So I guess they, the damage counts the most to scoring. I'm not mad at the split decision to Rob. It was definitely a great fight. It could have gone either way. I'd lean Gene. I think he stole the first round, but I'm not mad at the decision. It was a great fight. I think Gene still deserves another ranked opponent. Rob, salute to you. Definitely turned back the clock a little bit, and it's time to get him. You give him somebody in front of him. We'll have to look at the rankings to match him up, but salute to Rob Font. Next up in the middleweight division, we have Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. I don't know what it is with Brendan Allen, man. It's like he wants to beat his opponent at their own game. So he takes the path of most resistance to the victory. And that did not work in his favor, obviously. Anthony Hernandez, beautiful work. Outdogged him, out-grappled him. There was a few times Brendan had him hurt. I think he hit him in the eye with a punch, and Anthony was, a little dazed on the feet. He almost got caught in a few submissions, but Anthony, reversed the position, ended up on top, laying a ground and pound, put Brendan in a few submissions himself, and he just outworked Brennan the entire time. I don't know how he thought he won. He's shaking his head after the scores were called, but Anthony definitely won. It's time to get him. If I had to match Anthony with someone, maybe you give him Jared Cannonier. I think that would be a good fight. Brendan Allen, you could do Brendan Allen versus Paulo Costa. I'd like to see that next. In the main event, we got Henry Triple C Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Song Yadong ended up winning after a weird stop to the fight. It was I have to admit, it was a bad eye poke. I give that to Henry. But the theatrics of sitting down and playing into the crowd, telling the ref I want to fight, and then ultimately quitting, it was a little questionable. I'm not gonna call him a quitter necessarily, but it was just a little funny. Song definitely, for the first round, definitely went to Song. Second round, Henry's leg was compromised from those leg kicks, but he started to find his range. He was catching Song with a lot of jabs, and Song was not reacting well to it until the third round. I was actually surprised with Henry striking. I thought Song would, capitalize with Henry having only one leg. Henry wasn't able to land any takedowns. Great takedown defense from Song. He was on it from the start of the fight. The sprawls were excellent. He wasn't falling for any of it, the fake takedown into the knee. He wasn't falling for anything. Definitely impressed with how he started the fight. As it moved on, Henry was finding his range. I'm trying to think of a matchup. They both asked for the rematch. I don't want to see the rematch. I think if it would have went on another 2 rounds, it would have been more of the same. Song picking them apart. I think you'd give. Oh man, this is a tough one. I think we can do Song versus Corey 2. I think Henry should just retire, honestly. I can't think of a matchup for him where he would look better than what he did against Song. Bantamweight division is pretty loaded too. So, yeah, I think Henry should just, focus on the podcast. I think it's time to call it. And don't get me wrong, he's an excellent coach. When he coached Davison to win the belt from Moreno, he did an excellent job with him. So he's an excellent coach. I think it's time for him to put the gloves down, though, honestly. If I had to give this card a score, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. The main event kind of got spoiled, but from start to finish, there was finishes all through this card. Not a lot of decisions, and people came for blood. It was very impressive. Now, as far as the picks, I went 8-4 on the card. The 4 losses were Ricky Simone with the knockout. Very impressive. We had Ion Cutelaba with the submission over Ibo Aslan. Impressed with that. Alonzo Menefield with the weird decision over Julius Walker. And then we had Rob Font with a beautiful fight. Split decision win over G Matsumoto. 8-4. Still, a beautiful day on the cards. Let me know in the comments what you guys scored the card and who you were most impressed with. Stay tuned for more content. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next fight card.